They say actors are immortalized on the silver screen, but even our most beloved superheroes, princesses, and maverick cops are only human. Here are some of the actors we've lost in 2024. On January 4th, it was reported that Mary Poppins star Glynis Johns passed away at the age of 100 due to natural causes. Prior to the 1964 classic, in which she starred opposite the likes of Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, Johns was nominated for an Oscar for her role as Mrs. Firth in the 1960 movie The Sundowners. Aside from her prominent film and television career, which included roles in projects such as Batman, Cheers, and Murder, She Wrote, the English actor was a Broadway star. In 1973, she won the Tony Award for her role as Desiree Armfeldt in A Little Night Music. She gushed about the songs written by Stephen Sondheim, especially the now iconic Send in the Clowns, telling the Associated Press, "I've had other songs written for me, but nothing like that. It's the greatest gift I've ever been given in the theater." On January 5th, news broke that German actor Christian Oliver, whose real name was Christian Klepser, had died in a plane crash the day before along with his two daughters, Annick and Medita, and their pilot Robert Sachs. The family was traveling in the Caribbean when their small aircraft experienced difficulties immediately after takeoff from Beckway and crashed into the ocean. They were reportedly on their way to St. Lucia. Oliver began his professional acting career in 1994, appearing in over 20 episodes of Saved by the Bell: The New Class. His film roles included major projects such as 2006's The Good German and 2008's Speed Racer. In recent years, Oliver appeared in 5 episodes of Prime Video's Hunters, playing a younger version of Al Pacino's Wilhelm Zooks. Oliver had also created a successful niche for himself in the gaming world, having provided his voice for several big-name franchises such as Medal of Honor and Call of Duty. The actor is survived by his wife, Jessica Klepser. On January 4th, the world lost David Soul, who was best known for playing Kenneth Richard Hutch Hutchinson in Starsky and Hutch. The actor was 80 and is survived by his wife, Helen Snell. After his passing, she made a heartfelt public statement saying, "He shared many extraordinary gifts in the world as actor, singer, storyteller, creative artist, and dear friend. His smile, laughter, and passion for life will be remembered by the many whose lives he has touched."
What are you frightened of?
Frightened of not being heard.
Of not being heard.
I think there's a lot that I have to give.
Indeed, Soul was multi-talented. Aside from his acting work, the actor was well known for his love for baseball and even earned a contract from the Chicago White Sox right out of high school. He was also a talented singer, recording several major hits like Don't Give Up on Us and Silver Lady. Speaking to People, Soul's former Starsky and Hutch partner Paul Michael Glaser spoke from the heart, saying, "David was a brother, a friend, a caring man. We shall never see his like again." While 1950s sitcoms like I Love Lucy and The Donna Reed Show focused on comfortable families and well-decorated homes, The Honeymooners focused on working-class folks holding down blue-collar jobs and shouting their way through tumultuous marriages. While the original series ran for only 39 episodes, it stuck around in the pop cultural consciousness thanks to the 4 hilarious leads: Jackie Gleason, Art Carney, Audrey Meadows, and Joyce Randolph. The last living member of the cast, Joyce Randolph, died on January 13, 2024. The actress got her start in theater and commercials before Jackie Gleason cast her in his variety show Cavalcade of Stars, where the Honeymooners characters originated. The characters were further developed in the Jackie Gleason show before spinning them off into their own sitcom. In The Honeymooners, Randolph played the role of Thelma Trixie Norton, the wife of Art Carney's goofy Ed Norton. And while she didn't reprise the parts in the series revival, she's still the face that people remember when they think about the character. Randolph was 99 when she died of natural causes at her home in hospice care. Gary Graham began exploring strange new worlds in November 1995 when he played Ocampan leader Tanis in the Star Trek Voyager episode Cold Fire. Graham evidently liked his time on Star Trek because he soon became a recurring face on the sister series Star Trek Enterprise. Here, the actor donned a pair of pointy ears to play Vulcan Ambassador Saval, showing up multiple times across the spin-off series. In addition to his time in the stars, Graham was also famous for more earthbound sci-fi, playing Detective Matthew Sykes in the TV show Alien Nation. Graham would also pop up in some of the most famous TV shows ever made, including The Incredible Hulk, Moonlighting, Ally McBeal, and Walker, Texas Ranger. He appeared in quite a few films as well, like Paul Schrader's Hardcore and All the Right Moves, starring Tom Cruise. The actor died suddenly on January 22nd at the age of 73. After graduating from Yale Drama School, Peter Crombie went on to play the scariest character in one of the funniest shows ever made.
You look good. Why shouldn't I look good?
In season 4 of the landmark NBC sitcom Seinfeld, Crombie portrayed Crazy Joe DeBola, a mentally unstable writer who karate kicks Kramer in the head, stalks Elaine Bennis, and hunts Jerry Seinfeld while dressed as Pagliacci. Both creepy and comical, Crombie stole the spotlight every time he terrorized Seinfeld and company. The actor also appeared in movies such as Seven, Natural Born Killers, and Born on the 4th of July. He kept busy on the TV side of things too, playing the monster in the miniseries House of Frankenstein and popping up in projects like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Law & Order, NYPD Blue, and Walker, Texas Ranger. Crombie died on January 10, 2024 after an undisclosed illness. His ex-wife Nadine Kitchener wrote on Instagram, "Thank you for so many wonderful memories and being such a good man. Fly free into the unboundless source of light, Peter." He was 71. Hollywood legend Carl Weathers died on February 1, 2024 at the age of 76. His family confirmed his passing in a statement obtained by Deadline, saying, "Carl was an exceptional human being who lived an extraordinary life. Through his contributions to film, television, the arts, and sports, he has left an indelible mark and is recognized worldwide and across generations." Weathers briefly played football for the then Oakland Raiders, but he'll forever be remembered as boxer Apollo Creed from the Rocky series. In the first film, Weathers brought a Muhammad Ali cockiness to the character who finds himself challenged by Sylvester Stallone's Rocky Balboa. But over the course of the series, Weathers added layers to the character, making him more sympathetic as Apollo went from Rocky's enemy to ally. Weathers also became a part of action and meme history when he shared a competitive handshake with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. And speaking of hands, he memorably lost one in the Adam Sandler classic Happy Gilmore, where he played the hilarious golfer Chubbs Peterson.
Shut up, Happy. Don't feel bad about me. I got my hand back, see?
On the TV side of things, Weathers starred as an exaggerated version of himself on Arrested Development, and he found popularity with younger fans thanks to his turn as Greef Karga in The Mandalorian. With other projects like Toy Story 4 and Action Jackson under his championship belt, Weathers will be remembered fondly by audiences for generations to come. Fans of the British version of The Office were saddened to hear that Ewen MacIntosh had died from undisclosed causes on February 19, 2024 at the age of 50. The Welsh actor was best known for his performance as The Office's Keith Bishop, a Scotch egg-loving accountant who was more or less the original Kevin Malone. MacIntosh will also be remembered for turns in the British soap opera EastEnders and the films Finding Fatima and The Lobster. After MacIntosh's death, The Office creator and star Ricky Gervais took to X to mourn his passing, calling the comedian an absolute original. While the cause of death is unknown at the time of this video, MacIntosh's management company shared that MacIntosh had been struggling with health-related issues for a couple of years. Never Say Never Again holds a weird place in James Bond history. It stars Sean Connery as 007, but isn't an official Bond flick as it wasn't produced by Eon Productions, the studio behind almost every other James Bond movie. Nevertheless, Never was the 14th highest-grossing movie of 1983, and it introduced the world to a new Miss Moneypenny played by Pamela Salem, who put her own spin on M's secretary after Lois Maxwell had played her for so long. This wasn't the first time Salem teamed up with Connery. They previously worked together in 1978's The Great Train Robbery. Salem also showed up in an equally iconic UK series, Doctor Who. She showed up in the 1977 episode The Robots of Death with Tom Baker's Doctor, and again in a different role in 1988's Remembrance of the Daleks with Sylvester McCoy's Doctor. Salem also appeared in EastEnders and Gods and Monsters before her death on February 21, 2024. She was 80 years old. Chris Gauthier passed away on February 23, 2024 at the age of 48 after a brief illness. Over the course of his career, Gauthier starred in over 100 movies and TV shows. Fantasy lovers will recognize him as William Smee from ABC's Once Upon a Time, and horror junkies will immediately recall his fiery demise in Freddy vs. Jason. Both superhero fans and Snyder Bros will remember him from his brief but crucial appearance at the end of 2009's Watchmen, and Hallmark devotees may have spotted him in movies like The Christmas House.
I could look for something in the crank file. Crank file? Whatever. Take some initiative. Run whatever you like.
But that's not all. Gauthier also appeared in TV shows like Eureka, Legends of Tomorrow, Supernatural, Smallville, and Charmed, as well as movies such as Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, and Beyond the Black Rainbow. Considering his massive filmography and history of working with masters such as John Carpenter and Christopher Nolan, Gauthier's presence on screen will be missed by fans of all genres. Although he was born in Toronto, Kenneth Mitchell left Canada to venture into the stars, on TV anyway. Mitchell would often appear on Star Trek Discovery, playing a variety of characters throughout the show. He portrayed 3 different Klingons during the first 2 seasons of the series, and appeared as Emerald Chain scientist Aurelio in Season 3. Mitchell was suffering from ALS at this point, but the Discovery crew incorporated his wheelchair into the show by having his character use a hover chair to get around. In addition to voicing multiple characters in Star Trek Lower Decks, Mitchell also appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the father of young Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel. He was in the CBS series Jericho, the CW's Frequency, the Freeform show Switched at Birth, and the ABC series The Astronaut Wives Club. Mitchell continued to act while struggling with ALS, but he died on February 24, 2024. His family released a statement on Instagram reading, For 5.5 years, Ken faced a series of awful challenges from ALS, and in truest Ken fashion, he managed to rise above each one with grace and commitment to living a full and joyous life in each moment. He lived by the principles that each day is a gift and we never walk alone.
I wanted to help tell this story and, help inspire other people.
Mitchell was 49. With his all-black attire and acerbic wit, Richard Lewis was a major player on the 1970s comedy scene. He appeared on multiple talk shows, including The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Late Night with David Letterman. And in addition to his comedy specials, he also made his mark as an actor.
Wasn't your mole on the other side?
I have a mole?
Lewis starred alongside Jamie Lee Curtis in the ABC sitcom Anything But Love, appeared in Mel Brooks' comedy Robin Hood Men in Tights, and showed up in the Nicolas Cage drama Leaving Las Vegas. Of course, Lewis's most famous role has to be playing himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Lewis and Curb creator and star Larry David were childhood friends, and the two had hilarious chemistry whenever they traded barbs on screen. Lewis appeared in the show's final season before he died on February 27, 2024. The comedian had been struggling with Parkinson's disease, but he died at his home due to a heart attack at the age of 76. Writing about his dear friend and frequent collaborator, Larry David said in a statement, "Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital, and for most of my life, he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest. But today, he made me sob, and for that, I'll never forgive him." While Star Wars is no Game of Thrones when it comes to memorable kills, a handful of notable death scenes happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Who can forget Obi-Wan sacrificing himself in the duel against Darth Vader, or the slaughter of all our Rogue One heroes? But perhaps the most memorable death in the franchise is about 5 seconds long, when Vader force chokes the apologetic Captain Lord Nita for failing to capture the Millennium Falcon. The scene is capped by Vader's immortal line,
"Apology accepted, Captain Nita."
The actor who brought Captain Nita to life, before winding up on the wrong side of the Force, was Michael Culver. In addition to his memorable moment in Hollywood's most famous franchise, Culver also appeared in projects like From Russia with Love, A Passage to India, and the British TV series The Return of Sherlock Holmes. Eventually, Culver stepped away from acting to focus on political activism, such as protesting the Iraq War. The actor died on February 27, 2024, leaving behind a life full of activism, acting, and an iconic Star Wars scene. He was 85 years old. Legendary film critic Roger Ebert knew a thing or two about movies, so much so that he created his own rules and maxims about the cinematic experience. One of his most famous was the Stanton-Walsh rule, where Ebert explained that no movie featuring either Harry Dean Stanton or Emmet Walsh in a supporting role can be altogether bad. We lost Stanton in 2017, and Emmet Walsh died on March 19, 2024. However, it's safe to say that Walsh left behind a filmography that lives up to Ebert's expectations.
An actor at my advanced age doesn't really get a shot at this stuff sometimes. I just got to keep moving.
Sci-fi fans will most likely recognize Walsh as Captain Bryant of Blade Runner fame, the cop who sends Harrison Ford's Rick Deckard on a mission to eliminate a group of rogue replicants. Coen Brothers devotees will immediately know Walsh as Lauren Visser, the murderous private detective in the siblings' first feature film Blood Simple, and the man really hated cans, as evidenced by his rifle-toting turn in Steve Martin's The Jerk. On top of all that, Walsh was a part of projects like The Iron Giant, Critters, Harry and the Hendersons, Knives Out, and Romeo and Juliet, just to name a few films. And that's not even mentioning his extensive work in the world of TV, such as playing Granddaddy Roy Gemstone in HBO's megachurch satire The Righteous Gemstones. When the prolific actor passed away, he was 88 years old. Louis Gossett Jr. made history at the 55th Academy Awards, becoming the first black man to win the prize for Best Supporting Actor thanks to his work in 1982's An Officer and a Gentleman. It wasn't the first trophy Gossett earned for his powerful work. Years earlier, he'd won an Emmy for his breakout turn in the miniseries Roots, where he played Fiddler, a mentor to LeVar Burton's Kunta Kinte character.
I need to look at another face, even as ugly as yours.
Gossett Jr. got his start on stage, making his Broadway debut and Take a Giant Step at the age of 17. From there, he made his way to TV and movies, playing in big-screen genre fare like Enemy Mine, Iron Eagle, and Jaws 3D, as well as small-screen projects like Psych and ER. In addition to his Emmy win, Gossett Jr. netted 6 additional Emmy nominations for series like HBO's Watchmen, Touched by an Angel, and Sadat, where he played Egyptian President Anwar Sadat, a role he described to Variety as his favorite. The actor's most recent titles included 2023's The Color Purple and voice work in 2024's If. Sadly, Gossett Jr. died on March 29, 2024, although the cause of death hasn't been revealed. The history-making actor was 87. It's always sad when an actor passes away, but it's devastating when the actor is far too young. So it was especially heartbreaking when the world learned that Chance Perdomo died on March 29, 2024. The actor was just 27 years old when he had a fatal motorcycle accident. Perdomo undoubtedly had a bright future ahead of him, as he had already made his mark in two popular genre shows, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and The Boys spin-off Gen V. In Sabrina, Perdomo played the mischievous warlock Ambrose Spellman, Sabrina's cousin and lover of fashionable robes. And in Gen V, he played Andre, a Godolphin University student with impressive magnetic manipulation powers. In addition to these shows, Perdomo earned a BAFTA nomination for his turn in the BBC 3 drama Killed by My Dad. And fans of romance movies will no doubt recognize him for his work in the After film series. Speaking about Perdomo's shocking death, the producers of Gen V released a statement saying, "We can't quite wrap our heads around this. Chance was always charming and smiling, an enthusiastic force of nature, an incredibly talented performer, and more than anything else, just a very kind, lovely person. Even writing about him in the past tense doesn't make sense. We are so sorry for Chance's family, and we are grieving the loss of our friend and colleague." Other actors we've lost so far in 2024 include Cindy Morgan, Aidan Canto, David Emge, and Herbert Cowboy Coward.